Hey, welcome to Faith Inspiring Channels. Today's verses to discuss are James 1:12 and Romans 5:3-5. Let's read the verse. Blessed is the one who endures trial, for when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life, which God has promised to those who love him. Romans 5:3-5. Not only that, but we rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope, and hope does not put us to shame, because God's love has been poured into our hearts through the Holy Spirit who has been given to us. So in these two verses, first verse, James is writing to believers who are going through trials and difficulties. He reminds that the trials reveal the faith, and after passing the test of the faith, get the blessings or the promises, reward, the crown of life that God has prepared for those who love him. The second verse, Romans 5:3-5, Paul is writing a letter to the Romans, says, we rejoice in sufferings because suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope. And also he is implying suffering not put us to shame, but reveal God's love for us. I have previously done a video of topic if Christians have more sufferings. Today's topic is, by reading this verse as believers, we can think, do we need trials to receive God's blessing? Or can we be blessed without sufferings? So I want to explain this message or answer this question using my own story. This story is to show how what we see as suffering and perseverance while we go through it is actually God preparing us for more or for higher level of opportunities or blessings, and how perseverance brings hope and character in our life. So to understand the story for this message, I need to first talk about some difference in the education and hospital system where I was brought up. So please listen to the whole story to understand the message, and also choose a day with enough time to listen to it. I also want to clarify that when I talk about other people in this story, it's not blaming anyone. I'm only explaining the event so the story can be understood better. Let me start the story. So I was the top academic scorer throughout my schooling in Kerala, first in my class, my school, and my zone up to 10th grade. At that time, I even got a national level scholarship, so available for even professional studies. My parents, especially my father, who was well known and respected in our town, took great pride in my academic success. But that pride also caused more people to give opinions to choose a career for me, which I explain in a bit. So next, about our education system, the high school ends at 10th grade, unlike in West, and grades 11 and 12 are called college. There are 4 groups to choose from: science, math, civics, and accounting. So the group a student chooses at 12 largely determines their entire career path, which we cannot change later, unlike in other countries. So I wanted to take both mathematics and science group, though usually people only choose one group, and I thought that will give me more options. So I went to a college which is far away from home. Only students scoring above 550 out of 600, about 92% could get into that college by merit, though there are payment seats. So my parents promised to me that after 12th grade, I would be allowed to take a 1 year to study for the medical entrance exam. So you can give up on the math. Trusting that promise, I pursued science group only. That means I cannot go to math group anymore or pursue engineering. So all my friends in that college also decided to take a full year to study for the entrance exam after 12. So we all focused on the 12th exam. So I came home after finishing 12, just took medical entrance exam to see how the test is, but I was never planning to choose the career based on that results, as we already have decided to do a focused study aiming medicine 1 year. And also while preparing for the 12th exam, I was not studying for entrance exam at all. But even without preparing, when the results came, I got into a rank where I can choose bachelor's of nursing, other options like agriculture or Ayurveda physician or veterinary, which are like merit seats, which means the expense is very less. Meanwhile, I didn't know at the time, but I realize now there's somebody who did not like my dad from another territory, because dad cannot be fooled to choose the scam option or like mixing. So consider him as the enemy. And they decided to fail him and his kids. So he was sending people to persuade my dad to choose the nursing as the option, while his aim is that his strategy is that make the genuine people fail while copying their ideas and make people around them as higher, so his scam always wins. So they were telling my dad how they were spending money to send their kids outside of Kerala to Madras and Bangalore College, even spending too much money for payment seats, even selling their property. So how much they were describing to dad how much lucky he is to get merit seats. But dad was not realizing they were getting help from scam, and even they are getting rewarded to talk to him like that. And then some educated group in our town, like physicians, which dad does not have to question whether they are in scam or something at the time. They said BSN nursing is highly valued overseas. You will be just selected and can become physician faster. So dad did not realize that they are people who got even medical seats outside of Kerala with this scam person help, and they are doing some illegal stuff. My dad believed them, and also not realizing who was acting against us behind the scenes or giving them help. Then I thought my mom would talk against me joining the nursing career. Then I overheard my mother saying to dad that if we give her 1 year and she get medicine seat, it would be like an expensive choice. And also, she was getting information that BSN is highly valued and provide like good opportunities. So, and another thing, my brother, who was working in Delhi at that time, who was in the IT field, he saw that many nurses going from Delhi to all countries faster than the IT group. So in summary, altogether decided to change their promise to give me study for 1 year for medical entrance exam, and who told me to give up math and focus on 12th exam. Decided to choose the nursing career for me. So at that time, I clearly told my parents that the choosing nursing was not a good decision or right decision, though I have nothing against nursing, and I predicted that they will regret. My prediction was right, because like I predicted, they all regret later for their decision and was discussing each other even without me complaining, and was they together put final blame on dad, though I did not complain or did not discuss about it. But I was sad, not about nursing career, but they changed promise of 1 year, and I had to give up the math by trusting them. When I joined BSN, I was in so much shocked that I decided I would no longer focus on being the top academic scorer anymore, as I come to believe that being first everywhere attracted too much attention and too much opinions, which influenced my parents' decision about my career. So this shows that why it's very important to pay attention to young adults' choices, because they always form beliefs based on what happened to them in their life. And back to our message, I want to point out that by listening to my parents' choice for me, I took that choice as an endurance. In the verse, Romans says that endurance gives character, and the character gives hope, which, like, God later blessed me for, which we can hear from the story itself. And after I joined nursing, after 1 year, both my parents, they understood that the BSN is same like nursing. It's nothing different. In Kerala, unlike in the West at the time, nursing was not considered a high status, or not even in the medium profession, as only bachelors and masters were developing at that time. And also then there was no decision making or critical thinking needed for nurses in India. And also my teachers told my dad why he chose nursing career for me was not the right decision, which added to his regret too. So dad even told me to choose any other profession like Ayurveda or pharmacy or veterinary, which was available at the time of ranking system, and advised me to give up the nursing soon after I joined the nursing. But by the time I joined the nursing, I got this belief that this choice, though from my parents, was not my original plan, but God has a great purpose for me through this career. Another message of this part of the story from the verse is that my classmates in the college where I did 12, they did 1 year preparation of medicine, and some of them I saw them join to medicine in the same medical college. So I had every reason to give up on the nursing career, not because I did not like nursing, but already my dad gave me permission to leave it. But I took this as this suffering, or this as an endurance that God allowed. I didn't know which any enemy was behind the scenes planning anything, or even if it was, God's promises in Romans 8:28. God will work everything as work for good for those who love. I will tell an example for that. I saw only one of those classmates who did choose medicine later in life. All others are in India. While this person was explaining to me, she had to study 4 years away from family with the clinics and residency, which I know I would not be happy to be away from my family, regardless it is to become a doctor in US. Not saying their hard work to be a physician in overseas was not good for them. But I know I came with a job to US and never even one day away from my husband or family. So the lesson is that regardless who is working against you or who put you to disadvantage, or you just have to continue to do right things. And as Romans 8:28 says, God will work everything for good for you, for those who love him. So the young people listening to me, you don't have to blame what put you to any disadvantages, or who played behind the scenes, or why you made choices. People can change opinion, but we have to take the responsibility for it. And as believers, we need to seek God's purpose of sufferings in our life. After finishing my BSN as a new grad, I joined a small hospital to get real clinical experience. The choices were either to become a tutor, or want to work clinically, or prepare for going to overseas. So at that time, I was not interested in becoming a tutor, because the tutor roles there in at that time in Kerala was like supervising students from School of Nursing, which are owned by hospitals. But the advantage for the students is that they get the full experience in the hospital, but also there was disadvantage that they have to work hospital work, cleaning along with their clinical duties. And I did not believe in that system, or I did not want to supervise students doing that. So I decided to join as a staff. So I joined this hospital where I joined. There were nurses who had completed 1 year A&M courses or 3 year GNM courses and working there for many years. They all liked me, but with their years of experiences and at that time, because I was from medical college Trivandrum, which is like a highly valued, so I was paid more than them. So that kind of created a little bit jealousy and ego clashes. And some of the things they were doing, what I learned is different from that. So, but I cannot correct them. So, but this experience there told me endurance, patience, responsibility, and how to get along with staff with different personalities, which helped me not to give up at the next level. And also, meanwhile, I had the choice of, at that time, my dad bought me a two-wheeler, which is in those days, the girls in the cities only do the two-wheelers. Not much people are driving. So I was so excited, and they were calling me home. They don't care for me to work, and my mother is retired and home, so I would be able to come home and having a good time. But then but I didn't want to choose that easy path. So if I had chosen the easy path, becoming a tutor or going home as my parents wished, I would not have gained the experience or growth that prepared me for what coming next, which I'm going to tell in a bit. So back to our verse, James 1:12, the blessing comes from enduring difficulty. As Romans 5 says, endurance the suffering produce endurance, and endurance produce character, and character produce hope, which is not immediately but later when you see how God used that season to prepare you. What you thought it was suffering at the time was actually preparation for next level. Also in this workplace, where we lived in a hostel where the food was not at all good, so we had to cook our own food, and along with the work in 3 different shifts, it was like very harder, not at all easy. And during the shift work, there is no assignment like overseas. We have like 2 nurses for 25 to 30 patients, and we are in charge of giving medications while the seniors wouldn't work. They are there for 20 years. They may be sitting, and the junior person, which is me, have to do all the medications, which also improved my clinical skills, but at the same time, that taught me the endurance and the patience with the staff, ability to handle difficult situation, and commitment to keep going despite difficulties, and that helped the next step with the confidence. But that also, after some months, 5 months in the hospital, I realized I had learned what I needed there. There was no more growth in that settings. That is when I began looking for more advanced hospital, and I told my dad, and he found out some advanced hospitals are there in Delhi, where I could continue to grow clinically and take on next challenges. So if I was choosing tutor, I wouldn't have looked for more advanced opportunities, because I was not at all looking to grow outside of India. Back to the verse, how suffering produce endurance, endurance to character, and the character to hope. So it leads to the suffering sometimes God allows is so that we can hope for new levels. Connecting to the story, to this verses, if this place had been the ideal clinical setting where I could fully service the clinical provider I wanted to be, I would not have needed to search for more advanced hospital. I believe God allowed those difficulties and choices in our lives so we can push ourselves to take it to the next step. Like James 1:12 says, blessed is the one who endures trial, for when he has stood the test, he will will receive the crown of life, which God has promised to those who love Him. So we have to pass the test at each level so that God prepares us to the next level. So next part of the story, by hearing about this advanced cardiology hospital in Delhi, I reached there. The setup is similar to the hospitals in the US. While I had only 6 months of clinical experience, most applicants to the hospital had like 3 years of experience and had worked in North India, which means they were already fluent in Hindi, a requirement there to get employed. So in Delhi, people were not familiar with our medical college, but luckily the assistant dean was from Kerala. So even with the 6 months of experience, I was able to get employed there. That day, I realized my 6 months sacrifice to get the clinical experience in that previous hospital had counted. In this hospital around Delhi, some senior nurses, some with many years of experience, held authority and assigned duties. Diploma nurses sometimes had ego clashes or prejudice about BSN staff. So when you join a new hospital, we had to remain, whether it's diploma or BSN, we had to remain humble to work effectively with them. The 6 months of experience in my previous hospital helped me withstand these power dynamics and get along with the staff. So this cardiology hospital, like I said, it was set up most like a US hospital. So there I started working, and the senior nurses, some with many years of experience, were the ones in authority, or with the years you get more and more duties and telling juniors which room, while giving medications, which room to go to, like rooms with the numbers. So if we ask the name of the patients when giving medication, some senior nurses could get angry and they do not like to be questioned. So junior nurses were expected to follow instructions and help them with their work. If I had not gone through these 5 months in that small hospital, I would have easily given up and gone home from Delhi. So because of this type of senior junior difference, I understood this was not the place either I should be working forever, but I did not know the next step. I cannot go back to Kerala. So at that time, I heard about a critical care program that gives you opportunity to work in critical care units, especially cardiology units, where you have like assignments similar to bedside nursing like in US, which also this program pays for exams to go to US. So I joined this program as I could get critical cardiology CCU units than actually going to US. And I got happier as this is the type of place where you get 1 or 2 patient ratio depending on acuity, and I could be the nurse I wanted to be. So the message of this part of like the third part of story connecting to the verse is that when I joined this hospital, if I had got critical care or CCU units, I would not have joined this program which take me to US. So the message is that if God allowed you to be in a situation or sufferings or allowed anything, that may be for pushing you to the next level. So we do not have to worry who creating it or why it is there. We only have to see God's purpose in that suffering. Hey, I'm concluding my story and message here by saying that from choosing nursing as a career to working in small hospital and to work in Delhi hospitals and eventually moving towards cardiology critical care opportunities and then eventually going to the US, the path was not easy. But I believed God allowed these in every stage. If God allowed any sufferings, regardless whether it's created by someone or not, if God allowed it, it was part of God's plan to prepare me for the next level of opportunity, which otherwise I would not have chosen without that difficulty. So to all of you who listening to me, you may be going through situations that create questions why I have this much hardships or sufferings. The verse that we learn says hardships or suffering produces endurance, endurance produces character, and character produces hope. Even when it seems like obstacles or sufferings are too much, God is teaching you patience and resilience and pushing you further to bless you, and He's not late and He's is on time. So keep your focus on His purpose in your life. Trust that sufferings are not meant to stop you, they are meant to prepare and bless you. God bless. Thank you.
Jesus, you are a good God. Jesus, you are a good God. Every step I take, every breath I make, Jesus, you are a good God. In the quiet I hear you call. Your love's the greatest gift of all. No heights too high, no depths too deep. Your mercy finds me while I sleep.